So let's switch gears and go to practice now. And we will stay with this category of the suffering person today for the second day. Today, switching to a second suffering person, perhaps somebody a little harder, somebody who's experiencing more intense suffering than the first person. But again, be a little careful with this. Don't go to the most suffering person you can imagine. And remembering with dukkha, with suffering, dukkha is dukkha is dukkha. A little bit can be as intense as a lot. Of course, there are gradations of suffering. There is a lot of suffering and there is minimal suffering. But finding a place today where you can maintain your balance, but really turn to face somebody else's discomfort, ill health, misfortune, whatever it happens to be. And in this, particularly today, it's the suffering that's important, not your relationship to the person. So here we approach the traditional first category in this cultivation of karuna. So don't spend a lot of time thinking about who it is, just whoever pops into your mind right at the beginning, maybe right now. And really just stay with this person through the sitting. Being very careful of two things. If you find you're going to overwhelm, go to somebody whose suffering is less intense, or just radiate metta for yourself. May I be at ease. So, back off of the suffering and just radiate metta for yourself until you feel more balanced, and then go back to the karuna. And in this situation, what I'm talking about is when you really begin to feel overwhelmed, it gets quite intense. There's no need to do this if you feel a little heart tightness or there's some emotions coming, but they're not really huge. Don't worry if the heart closes or reacts. That's something to practice through, but only change if it's very intense and overwhelming. So a loss of balance into strong emotions is the first thing to be aware of or to be careful around. The second thing is to be very careful about your attitude around the suffering. So just as with loving kindness, when we cultivate compassion, we don't do it with any expectation of result. The main point is to develop our own capacity to connect with those people and to care in the middle of their suffering. So what we're developing is this ability to connect. We're not trying to fix, we're not trying to change, we're not trying to do anything with the way the world is. And along with that attitude of receptivity, the world is the way it is, may we all be free from suffering, comes a relaxation in terms of effort.
Sorry, you said this allows us a certain, not balance, you said distance, no. No. This fact that we are able to be with the suffering without being too involved in it allows us.
So this relaxation, this resting back is really important. This receptivity is the key attitude that we cultivate around suffering and around any mind state actually, but around witnessing someone else's suffering. This is the openness of heart that we're connecting with and we're cultivating. So with this attitude of receptivity and knowing that we don't have to change anything, it allows us to dial back the effort. So really resting with this and just understand that all you need to do is to keep turning the mind again and again and again and again to compassion. So let's get started. Please get comfortable, relax, be at ease in your posture. And if you often have pain with sitting meditation, don't sit, lie down. Really get comfortable at first and be at ease in your own body. taking care of yourself so that you minimize your own suffering is compassion in action. And then that allows that bridge of fellow feeling. Just as I want to be free from suffering, so may you be free from suffering. So finding a comfortable posture, sitting or lying, when you're ready, closing your eyes. Again, as usual, taking a moment to just land in your body, to really connect with this body here and now, with a real kind attention as you need to, adjusting your posture so you're completely comfortable. And taking a couple of deep breaths to connect with the heart center. And I invite you now to please begin the compassion practice where it's easiest for you, whether it be yourself or a mildly suffering person, the first person you've chosen yesterday. Whatever being, human or animal, you find it easiest to connect. We'll spend about 5 minutes here in silence, and I'll tell you when to move on. So now I invite you to connect with this second suffering person with either an image of them or a felt sense of their energetic presence. And using the same phrase you've used before, continue to radiate compassion for this second person. And the same thing I said with the first person holds with this. If you go to overwhelm, please feel free to go to any of the other two people, yourself or this first person you've worked with, who is easier. So just continually planting seeds of compassion, moment to moment to moment. Keep inclining the heart to care in the face of suffering. And just continuing in the silence. Again and again and again. So coming to a close now of our group sitting. Remembering that we don't stop the practice when we open our eyes. Just continuing that inclination to Karuna in an open way as you open your eyes and see all the faces on your screen. Thank you for your practice, everybody. So now, as usual, time for questions. If anybody has any about your own practice or about theory or something that's come up, in the talk or the sharing, please feel free. So Martine and then Alessandra.
Certo. I found it, since yesterday, I found it really difficult to use the compassion phrases because I'm really, really deeply touched by what is happening now in Ukraine. Yeah? Because instead of using the sentence, may you be free from suffering, I chose the sentence, may you be free from the causes of suffering, towards the person I sent compassion, because it was like trying to stop the overflow of a river right from the start when the river is still a trickle, instead of trying to to stop the flow when it is already much too strong. Viranani, I don't hear you.
We cultivate compassion to increase and polish our ability to connect with the suffering of others, not to stop it. We can wish for the suffering to end, but we can't stop it with this practice. And I really like the phrase, may you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. You're right. That wish for freedom from the causes of suffering speaks to future suffering. And we meet suffering wherever it is, whether it's the fullness of the river or the beginning of the spring, the water coming out of the ground. And as you said, we're also touched by what's happening. It's this huge kind of global tragedy for Ukraine, for the Russian people, for everybody, for all of us. This is a river, and there's nothing we can do to stop it personally. But we can wish people be free from suffering, even though they are suffering, in the fullness of the river. And that's actually the challenge of the practice. So Alessandra and then Iris.
So today I changed my sentence. I feel really moved. The sentence was towards myself. May I be free from all suffering, physical and mental suffering. It was really lovely in a way to be able to wish this for myself. Then I decided to choose my partner, being well aware that I could fall into the trap of physical attraction. But I knew this wouldn't happen. When my partner is suffering, his suffering is something that activates me a lot. At the moment, he's not in a type of suffering that activates me. So I felt quite sure I could be with this well-wishing towards him. So I started wishing that he might be free of all type of suffering, physical and mental suffering. But what happened quite spontaneously was that there was this coming and going from him to myself, and then back to him, and then to myself. It was quite interesting. Until I realized I was feeling anger towards him. A great anger came up. Because he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that in order to relieve his own suffering, and he actually creates his own suffering. And then I realized that this is the same attitude I have towards myself. And then so I could see this clinging I have, this tendency to want to be something different from what I am. Then I wondered, if I remove this attitude, what would remain? What would be left? And I feel really moved by what actually came up was what remains, what stays, what is left is unconditional love. So this is what I wanted to share.
Nothing I need to say. That's beautiful.
My sentence is, may you be free from suffering in body and mind. And I choose a friend. And when I say body, then I connect with her bodily suffering. And when I say mind, I connect with her mental suffering. Is that the way? Is it the right way? Is this good to do so?
In terms of your understanding of what those mean, yes, that's completely correct. And very pragmatically, it's right if it allows you to open to suffering. So if it allows you to open and connect, or at least just connect, the connection comes first, then the opening. So if you can connect, good. That's right, whatever it is. So today, I'd like to do an English metta chant, the English Metta Sutta. So, thank you.